Desire doesn't disappear when she feels safe. It transforms. And most people never notice the moment it happens. Before we go deeper, hit subscribe and like the video. This is Depth Realm, where we expose the patterns people don't want to face. Emotional safety is supposed to be the goal, the end point, the proof that love is real. But for female desire, safety is not the finish line. It's a turning point, and what happens after that point confuses everyone involved. In the beginning, desire feeds on uncertainty, on anticipation, on the unknown. The nervous system stays alert, scanning, interpreting. Every message matters. Every silence carries meaning. The body is activated. This activation is not love. It's vigilance. But vigilance feels intense. And intensity feels like desire. So the early stage burns hot. Then safety arrives. He's consistent, predictable, emotionally available. The nervous system relaxes. And when it relaxes, something shifts. Not affection, not care, not attachment. Desire. Because desire is not built on comfort. It's built on contrast. Contrast between closeness and distance. Between knowing and discovering. Between certainty and mystery. Emotional safety reduces contrast. And when contrast fades, desire recalibrates. This is the silent shift no one prepares women for. Women are told safety equals attraction. That trust equals passion. That emotional availability fuels desire. But biology doesn't follow ideology. The female nervous system evolved to prioritize environmental cues. Threat, opportunity, change. When safety stabilizes the environment, those cues soften. The system stops scanning. And scanning is where desire once lived. This doesn't mean women want danger. It means desire initially arises from movement. Movement between states. Once the environment stops moving, desire doesn't die. It slows. And slowing feels like loss to a system trained on speed. Here's where confusion sets in. She still loves him, still trusts him, still wants closeness. But the spark feels quieter. Not gone. Muted. And she doesn't know why. She asks herself, what changed? Nothing obvious did. But internally, everything did. Her nervous system stopped defending. Defense creates adrenaline. Adrenaline creates arousal. When defense is no longer required, arousal drops. And arousal is the raw material of desire. This is why emotional safety feels calming but not always erotic. Eroticism needs tension. Not danger, tension. Tension is difference. When he becomes fully available, fully predictable, fully oriented around the relationship, difference collapses. Polarity fades. And without polarity, desire has nowhere to land. This is where many men make the mistake of overcorrecting. They sense the distance. They feel the shift. So they give more safety, more reassurance, more presence, more accommodation. And desire fades further. Because safety was never the missing ingredient. Polarity was. Emotional safety stabilizes attachment. It does not automatically sustain attraction. Those are different systems. Attachment seeks closeness. Attraction seeks activation. One calms. The other excites. Healthy relationships need both. But most people don't know how to balance them. Here's the deeper layer. Many women grew up equating love with emotional inconsistency. Affection came unpredictably. Approval fluctuated. Attention was conditional. Their nervous systems learned to stay alert to feel connected. So when safety arrives later in life, it feels unfamiliar. Not wrong, just unfamiliar. Unfamiliarity is often interpreted as boredom. And boredom feels like loss of desire. But what's really happening is withdrawal from adrenaline. The body was used to intensity. Now it's experiencing peace. Peace feels flat at first. Flatness is not emptiness. It's regulation. But regulation feels underwhelming to a nervous system trained on spikes. So desire doesn't disappear, it changes its signal. Instead of craving excitement, the body begins craving depth. Instead of urgency, it begins craving presence. But this transition is uncomfortable, because depth builds slowly, and slow feels weak compared to intensity. This is why some women sabotage safe relationships. They chase the old feeling. They interpret the calm as lack. And they walk away only to feel regret later, because what they lost wasn't attraction. It was potential for a deeper kind of desire. Here's the truth most people miss. Female desire has phases. Early desire is dopamine-driven. Late desire is oxytocin-supported. Early desire thrives on novelty. Late desire thrives on meaning. But modern culture glorifies early desire and ignores the rest. So women panic when desire shifts. They think something is broken. It's not. It's maturing. But maturity requires patience. And patience feels like loss to a system addicted to immediacy. Now let's talk about the male side. Men often believe that being emotionally safe means being emotionally constant. Always available. Always responsive. Always accommodating. But emotional safety doesn't require emotional collapse. In fact, collapse kills desire. Desire requires two stable centers. When a man gives up his center to create safety, polarity vanishes. She feels secure but not drawn. Because desire doesn't want to be held by someone who is holding nothing else. This is why women often lose desire when men stop prioritizing themselves. Not because self-focus is sexy, but because selfhood creates gravity. Gravity pulls. Safety soothes. Both are needed. Now let's examine the role of autonomy. Emotional safety allows closeness. Autonomy allows distance. Distance creates reorientation. Reorientation restores desire. When couples are constantly together, constantly connected, constantly available, desire suffocates. Not because love is gone, but because contrast is gone. This is why desire often returns after time apart. Not because absence increases love, but because it restores polarity. Polarity is the invisible current beneath attraction. When emotional safety eliminates all uncertainty, polarity collapses. Desire follows. Now here's the part women rarely admit. Sometimes emotional safety exposes unresolved internal emptiness. When chaos disappears, silence remains. And silence reveals things that intensity once hid. Loneliness, uncertainty, identity gaps. So desire is projected outward again. She thinks, I need more passion. But what she often needs is integration. Integration of safety with stimulation. That integration doesn't happen automatically. It requires conscious effort. It requires learning to eroticize calm. To find desire in presence, not pursuit. This is difficult. Because presence doesn't spike the nervous system. Settles it. And settling feels like loss before it feels like home. This is why female desire after emotional safety feels quieter but deeper. Less urgent but more resilient. But only if it's allowed to develop. If not, it's mistaken for absence. And absence is feared. So women chase the old pattern. Men chase reassurance. And both miss the opportunity. Now let's talk about long-term consequences. Women who never adapt to desire after safety keep chasing intensity. They move from relationship to relationship. Each one burns fast. Each one fades. They say, I lose attraction every time. But the pattern isn't the men. It's the nervous system. They never learned how to stay when things become calm. So calm feels like death. Women who adapt experience something different. Desire becomes less explosive but more consistent. Less dramatic but more embodied. They don't feel butterflies. They feel grounding. And grounding supports intimacy. Now let's be clear. This doesn't mean desire should vanish. Healthy relationships reintroduce novelty intentionally. Growth, challenge, separate pursuits. Men who continue evolving create ongoing contrast. Women who maintain autonomy preserve polarity. Safety and desire coexist when both partners stay whole. But when safety becomes sameness, desire fades. This is not failure. It's physics. Now here's the final truth. Female desire changes after emotional safety because the nervous system shifts from survival to regulation. Survival needs intensity. Regulation needs meaning. Intensity burns fast. Meaning endures. But meaning takes time. And time is something modern culture refuses to give. So desire feels lost when it's actually transforming. Once you understand this, you stop panicking. You stop chasing sparks. You stop interpreting calm as absence. You realize desire didn't leave. It grew up. And grown desire doesn't scream. It hums. It doesn't pull you forward. It holds you steady. And steady is not boring. It's rare. See the pattern. Protect your energy. This is depth realm.